olhos meus e a luz dos olhos teus resolvem se encontrar. Ai, que bom que isso é, meu Deus, que frio que me dá o encontro desse olhar. Mas se a luz dos olhos teus resiste aos olhos meus só pra me provocar, meu amor, juro por Deus, me sinto incendiar. Meu amor, juro por Deus que a luz dos olhos meus já não pode esperar. Quero a luz dos olhos meus na luz dos olhos teus sem mais lararará. Pela luz dos olhos teus eu acho meu amor e só se pode achar que a luz dos olhos meus precisa se casar.
Careful with what you wish for, Part 2. Marcy had an apple to eat and make them company, but she decided to walk back early because the repeating song was pissing her off. Even Dylan was getting sick of it and wished it would stop. Suddenly, with the sound of a blast, the speakers died. Wow, he thought that's something weird. They paid their bills and walked back talking about how weird the music was, and they supposed someone lost their temper with the machine. Once they went back to the office, the frat boy asked and to follow him to the meeting room. Dylan felt jealous and immediately became grumpy. He spent the afternoon with his music out loud on the earphones and making cartoons of and kicking George in the balls and Michael dressed like Bozo. Around 3 p.m. they finished the meeting and Dylan felt relief when he noticed that at some point of the meeting, Marcy joined them there as well. Frat boy walked towards Dylan and told him, "Hey man, I was designated to take care of everything while Michael is out, but I must travel, so for the next 2 days and is in charge. If Michael shows up, you guys know what to do." Dylan didn't know and didn't care. By the way, did you see Colin around? Marcy couldn't find him to sign some paperwork, and I need to give him instructions too. Well, and knows what to do anyway, so you will be fine without me, George said, walking back to Marcy to look for Duck. Dylan went to Anne's table to check out what they had talked about for so long. Well, that's something really wrong with Michael. His nose, hands, and feet are blowing and the hair is falling, especially at the top of his head and other weird symptoms. The doctors don't know what it is, but it could be a very severe allergic reaction, or he was somehow exposed to radiation. I don't know, people are speculating, but the doctors still don't know. Thus, we only have theories by now, and seem to be disturbed and uncomfortable. Is there anything wrong? Dylan asked. Nothing to worry about. Just some intrusive thoughts? She answered, looking at Frat Boy and Marcy speaking at her desk. Dylan got anxious for a second, before a mental image of Michael crossed his mind. It makes him run back to his table. He starred in Michael's cartoon for a while. Hairless, clown nose, huge shoes. Then for a second, this understanding came, and he wanted to ask and if the other weird symptoms include making a honking sound when his balls are squeezed or if he is urinating through his left nipple. No, there is no way. And a duck crossed the room, half running and half flying. While the office started the duck hunting season, Dylan stayed at his table just thinking, what if? That was insane, but that day wasn't exactly normal. One thing was a Toretto grandma in her cab, and a non-stop old-fashioned tune, no big deal. But really believe that his bullshit? No, there must be an explanation. Dylan could test something, just to be sure. To prove himself he had nothing to do with this weird shit. So, he closed his eyes and pictured Annie coming towards him and kissing him. And that's exactly what she did. While Anne was coming towards him, Dylan paralyzed, completely disbelieving what was happening, and looked him in the eyes, slowly held his face between her hands and kissed him. She even used her tongue. Dylan was impressed, and suddenly let him go. She blushed and looked around to check if other people saw what she had done, but they were all dedicated to capturing the duck, while a hysterical Marcy was yelling at them all to not hurt the animal. "I am sorry, I don't know what I did that." And before he could say anything, and ran to the women's restroom. Dylan now believed, and he was remarkably happy. Finally, someone got the duck and Marcy took him. She was going to take it to an animal shelter she knew. At least poor Colin was safe, Dylan thought. Every time they have to go to the vegan place for lunch, Dylan wishes Marcy was a steak lover, but in certain circumstances, her eating habits could actually be useful. But since you don't have loose ducks around all the time, he still preferred she was the greatest meatball lover of the city, more even than him. George was cursing the duck for all this trouble. He had to be in the airport at 6 p.m. and didn't even pack yet. He grabbed his stuff and ran towards the elevator. Dylan followed him and asked, just for curiosity, "Where are you going?" "To New York. My dad is opening a new office there, and I will be transferred soon, so I am going to check things out. But don't tell people yet. It's not official." George walked into the elevator and went without saying goodbye. That was officially the best day of Dylan's life, and the brain started, "I got the magic stick. I know if I can hit once, I can hit twice." Dylan went home on the bus thinking about all the possibilities he had. He could make himself win the lottery, marry a super top model, or he could not marry at all and always have a new girlfriend, whoever he wanted. No, his mom was going to kill him if he does it. He could buy her a house, or better, make someone buy a house and give it to mom as a gift. It was her dream, after all, to have her own house. Dylan's mental list started increasing more and more, and he began to think about how to do things without looking like a thug and make people suspicious. He started to write down his to-do list, whom to talk to, what to ask, and how everything would have to happen to be safe, while eating a jam sandwich when his mom called him. Gina, his mother, used to call him every night to talk about her day and ask about his own, etc. And it was time. "Hi, Mom. You won't believe what happened today. Our life is going to be amazing," Dylan said. "What happened, sweetie?" Gina said, all excited on the phone. "It's hard to explain, but trust me. From now on, our life will change." Dylan's eyes were shimmering. "Okay, sweetie, I am happy for you. I called you to talk about the church. I am having issues with Margareth again and..." Before she could finish, Dylan interrupted her and said, "Not now, Mommy. I am busy. Talk to you later, okay?" "Okay, I just wanted to tell you." She tried one more time. "Later, Mom," he said, turning off the phone. Dylan loves his mom very much, but sometimes he thinks she could just stop, be done talking for a while. There are more important things in the world than Margareth and her crew. When he was satisfied with his plan, he went to bed dreaming of the amazing day he was going to have. Mind playing money, money, money must be funny. In the rich man's world, money, 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 always sunny. In the rich man's world. Next morning, Dylan got dressed and started drawing. He thought it was better than just imaging, but he was going to try both anyway. So he walked outside and waited for the cab he didn't call. The guy stopped in front of his house and said, "Welcome. It's a pleasure to drive you today, sir." "Of course. It's my pleasure, after all. It's not every day we can find a driver that takes payment in potato chips," Dylan said, opening a box of snacks in the back of the car. He had boxes and boxes of chips home. His mom made a signature to a snacks club, and instead of delivering them to her, it was sent to Dylan's house. It was a small pampering to her baby boy, according to Gina. "Oh, you were so generous, sir. I am very happy," he said, opening a bag of chips. The rest of the trip went silently as the driver was busy eating his chips and Dylan was entertained with all his thoughts. His plan for the morning was to be invited to the big boss office to be promoted and receive a raise to his salary, a significant amount of cash to sign the paperwork, and some vacation days next week. They were going to have dinner together and become very close friends and a person of trust. And whenever George was back, he would have to deal with his presence. Soon he will be in New York for good, so who cares? Dylan wasn't screwing with anyone. Then, Dylan was taking and to lunch and having another nice tongue-kissing session with her in the ally of the Italian place. She was going to declare her feelings for him and ask him to be her boyfriend in the office, so they would be official and everyone was going to applaud them. Then they would go to the second base inside her car in the parking lot before he goes to dinner with the big boss. On the weekend, she was going to meet Mom. He was sure they were going to be besties because that's what he wants.
Thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. Check out our website to read more tales. www.foresttales.com